So, I'm both glad I recorded these things in multiple places, and thrilled that my minuscule brain still remembers to breathe sometimes. I recorded my Zoom session with Journey Into Lorcana on Zoom, but forgot to hit record for about 20 minutes with the much better recording software I use as my main source, including the only place I recorded my face. As always, I love you all for persevering through my insanity. And let's get started.
Welcome back, fellow Illumineers, to be our guest. We're back again. I love it. At this point, by the time you see this, because I'm recording them out of order, we'll have done 3 other inks, and now we're on to the fiery one, to Ruby. We're doing some Ruby draft set reviews today. Shout out one more time to my buddies at Aegis Games down in Bellingham. This is not a sponsored post. I'm just a fan, repping Team Aegis, so shout out to you guys. Thanks for the love and support. Love you guys. All right, we've got a very special guest here today for our draft set review for Ruby. We've got Journey Into Lorcana himself, Oliver. Oliver, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Heath.
Tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Well, let's see. I every night I post a card, like guess the card with due to the stats. Big supporter of by Heath. Check it out if you want at Into Lorcana. And for drafts I do for the first 2 months of a set I do casual drafts at my local LGS and.
Nice. So you've actually got a decent scene locally then. So you're doing it for a couple months. Nice. I know some LGSs, they're really just doing like one a set. So that's great to hear that you've got a local scene where you can get it happening a couple times. So to all you out there, hold out hope. There's hope yet for your local LGS. If you're not getting the draft support that you're looking for, keep trying to build the scene there. If there's anything we can do, by the way, throwing this out there to help you build your local scene, don't hesitate to reach out. But I'm going to be putting some things on the screen in the post-edit to show you all the amazing things that Oliver does with Journey Into Lorcana. But if you're a trivia nerd like me and like to challenge yourself to guess, no cheating, no looking up in the lists, do your best to guess. And that's always a fun thing to do every day. So cool. Would love to see more people respond to that because I think that's a great and fun thing to do every day. So welcome again. Really happy to have you here. Let's dive into it. I'm going to put it to future Heath, past Heath. I don't know when I'm recording this with all the ratings. But just a reminder, we've got A, B, C, D, and they reset it. All right. Well, hey, I can edit it here. Yay! All right, hold on. I just realized it reset on me. I did it to A, B, C, D, and F, and then it reset me to the S tier one. All right. I may or may not edit that out. You guys know I like making a fool of myself. A, B, C, D, and F is our ratings. We might give a plus or minus here or there just to reinforce where along this lines, but we'll try and get this sorted out as we go. So by the end of this, we feel good about where these cards lie in our rating system. So let's get started. First card we've got on the docket, we've got Mickey Mouse Pirate Captain, 5-cost inkable, 4/4, 2 lore with shift 3, notably a pirate and a captain. I'm not always going to read the subtypes, but when it matters for this set, for the synergies, pirate and captain present there. And when this character quests, chosen pirate character gets +2 strength and gains this character takes no damage from challenges this turn. Oliver, what are you thinking about Mickey Mouse?
I feel like I personally, art beautiful, great card. It's just kind of hard to find pirate characters. I feel like I put it in C tier.
Okay.
Because I feel like 4/4 for 2 is not bad, but when you're at 5, you want those big bodies to help carry you to the end. And I feel like Mickey just isn't really doing it.
Yeah. You know what? I have it at exactly the same rating, and I'll tell you what. This is one of those things where just for everyone at home that's like wanting to like raise us and throw us off the plank, I want to review these things kind of in a vacuum, right? Like you said, Oliver, like if we don't get a ton of pirates, a 5-cost 4/4/2 lore, not really that impressive. Now, if you go for the pirate synergies, and I'm not a huge synergy guy in draft, I'd rather just raw value, but if you go for the pirate synergies, obviously that's a great payoff, right? Fantastic. And he'll go up from there. Maybe you got him at B tier, maybe even A tier if you got a bunch of pirates. But on his own, yeah, that's C tier. All right, I'm with you on that one. Let's keep it rolling. We got Kakamora Boarding Party, one of 2 Kakamoras. Actually, no, there's the one in steel as well. So many.
Oh, cool.
This one is a 4-cost uninkable, 5/2 with Rush, 1 lore. Where are you taking Kakamora?
I like this card. The uninkable is a little upsetting, but that 5, if you have a really nice board at the beginning and just like some super good questers, then and they have a big body, like you can just throw out 5, take it out.
Yeah.
Of
Absolutely.
course, it's no Maui level with 5 health, but for the 4-drop, it's really good, so I put it in B tier.
Nice. You know what's interesting is there's actually not too many cards with willpower more than 5 in this set. Specifically, like in the last set, there was Monstro that was a 5/6, but they flipped it, and this time it's a Tuk Tuk that's a 6/5 for 5. So 5 is like the magic number in terms of there's like 90% of the set is going to be below that. So that's important. For me, I'll be honest, I'm pretty low on this one, but you're kind of selling me on a little bit. I'll tell you why I'm low, and then maybe we'll decide if I should bump it up. So I'm low, uninkable, number 1, right? Like you said, that's a big detriment. Obviously, in draft, you're not likely to have a bunch of uninkables, but there's definitely some really good uninkables in this set. So, you know, it's one of those things that I'm always nervous about that. But let's say you're drafting well, you've got a bunch of inkables, and that's not a problem. Now let's just look at it for a different way. Basically, you're treating this like 4-cost removal, which removal is really hard to come by in this set. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's removal that requires your opponent's character that you want to remove to be exerted. So that's already a circumstance where, yeah, they're going to be exerting them quite often. But if they drop something that you want to get rid of before they exert, that's not helping you. For me, I love the rush characters where I can try to get that sneaky 2-for-1. A 3/3 body, a 4/4 body, where I can get in, take care of one of their smaller characters, and they're forced to challenge back. And chances are it's big enough that it's going to get that 2-for-1. So that's where I like the rush characters to be. But you raise a good point that there's not anything really standing in its way. So if you've had an early aggressive game and you just need to clear out a big body that's about to threaten the rest of your board, then it could come in handy. So I will be honest, I had this at F because anything that's uninkable that I'm not wild about, I throw in the no thank you bin. But you know what? I'm okay putting this at like a mid to low C. We'll see. We'll see where the rest of the set comes out. Yeah, we'll come back to it. We can revisit.
I agree.
All right. So next one, we've got Kakamora again. Pirate Pitcher this time, which is a 2-cost inkable 1/3 1 lore. When you play this character, chosen pirate character gains evasive until the start of your next turn. How are you feeling about this particular coconut?
Again, with Mickey Mouse, it's just hard to come by pirates. I feel like there are a lot this set, but you'd have to be trying to build something very specific. And a 2/1/3 that only quests for 1, it just doesn't really feel like it's going to help you a ton.
Yeah. So I wasn't in love with Mickey Mouse's body without the pirate synergies, but it's still serviceable. Yeah. But a 2-cost 1/3 is just, ugh.
Yeah.
And Mickey Mouse, if you've got the pirates, the payoff's massive. If you've got a pirate, the payoff's still not like great. It's good, don't get me wrong, but it's not so exciting that I'm like, ooh, I really need to force pirate strategies so I can get the pirate pitcher going. So yeah, I'm low on it as well. And I will tell you, so the pirate strategy, this actually came up. I was having a conversation with Knives, shout out Knives Nerd Corner, yesterday, and he did the math because he's good with the data. And he said that the average table is going to have 50 pirates. So the average deck's going to have about 6. So that's all well and good, but pirate synergies, there's a lot of payoffs in here. I guarantee you someone at your table is trying to make pirates work, which means they're taking a lot of them, which means now you're fighting for it, right? Versus just going after good cards on their own. So I'm with you. Where do you have Kakamora?
I think Inkable is its only redeeming quality, so I feel like it's either really low C or D.
Yeah. So for me, I pretty much have things at D where it's like every once in a while it might be useful in that a 1/3 body is still not nothing, but for the most part it's ink. For me, that's the D tier, right? Is like I'm going to ink it 95% of the time, but every once in a while I just need something that quests for 1, and then great. All right, let's keep it rolling. I love that we're on the same wave. I mean, I guess the last one we weren't, but for the most part.
Besides Kakamora. Other Kakamora.
All right, next we got Jasmine, Rebellious Princess, 3-cost inkable, 2/3, 2 lore. Whenever this character quests, each opponent loses 1 lore. How are we feeling about Jasmine?
I love this card.
I'm with you. Tell me. Preach!
I've always been so interested in cards that make the opponent lose lore just because it ticks them off.
Oh, so you're just a toxic player that's like, I just want you to have a bad time.
Annoying, not toxic. I need to get that out of the way.
I mean, I love it.
The 3-cost bugs me a little bit, but the 2/3 body that quests for 2 and it's making them lose lore at the same time, I put this in A tier.
Oh, wow. Okay. You definitely love it. So, I mean, I was with you up until the regrading because I really love her as well. So specifically, I always love to contrast characters with kind of their vanilla counterparts. So a 3-cost 3/3/2 lore is really kind of the vanilla stat line that you see most commonly. So how does this compare with that? Well, it effectively nets you an entire extra lore because they're going down 1, you're going up 2. So we've got a net difference of 3 lore. Yeah, if they're at 0, that's not the case. But obviously, if they're at 0, you're happy anyway. So 3 lore is a lot bigger than 2 lore. So I'm losing 1 strength to get another lore. Great. But also, to your point, sometimes making them lose lore could absolutely be the difference between winning and losing.
One character on board, time
this right.
They're at 19 lore. You just
be like, I've bought myself another turn. And the last reason I like her, and you're not going to get legendaries very often, but the last reason I like her is because she is a very reasonable shift target for the legendary Jasmine in this set. Again, don't draft this assuming you're going to get Jasmine, but if you got Jasmine already, she goes up in value. So I actually had her at like a B- C+ on her own. I would have her in A tier if I had Jasmine already, the shift Jasmine. But
very true.
I like her at, so B- for me is like pick like 6-ish, right? 6, 7, somewhere around there. So I like her at like a B-, but honestly, I just think you're going to be happy with her. So definitely look for Jasmine as I'm looking for her right now in here. There we go. All right. So Jasmine's our first one up in the B tier territory. We'll shift her like an average of like B to B+ based on our tier ratings there.
I agree.
All right. So Raya Kumandran Rider, 4-cost inkable, 3/3, 2 lore. Once during your turn, whenever a card is put in your inkwell, which I hate that they say whenever, and it's once per turn, by the way. It's like, just say once per turn when a card is put in your inkwell. You may ready another chosen character of yours. They can't quest for the rest of the turn. What do you think?
I like the 3/3, 2 lore body. It's really solid. Yeah. If you just like, it really depends on order of operations, but let's say that you have like a big quester on the board, you could just ink, ready it, and then they can't touch it. Unless, of course, actions. But who's playing actions in draft?
Very few.
If you get stuck with it, then that's going in your 8 that you're not using. Yeah. I feel like it's a really solid card. 4 cost is really kind of dulling me down. So I'd probably put it low B, maybe C.
Yeah, okay. I think we're along the same page here. So here's where I'm comparing it to. I'm thinking of Sven from the last set, right? Where on play, it got this ability. They couldn't challenge, so it had a little bit more limitation, but it was on play. And arguably, I like on play probably a little bit more because of that surprise factor, but you're probably going to get maybe 2 triggers out of this where you only ever get the 1 out of Sven. So I'd say on average, those 2 things balance out. I like on play more, but I like the fact that you might get a couple triggers out of this. And to your point, yeah, often draft is a race to the finish line. So the fact that you can protect one of your heavy questers is fantastic. My goodness, if you have a couple of these, it's just lights out. They can't touch you. It's like super evasive. But also, don't discount having a big body and being able to challenge twice in a turn. Pulling a little scar action there a little bit. So I had it at B-. So somewhere in that range that you're talking about, I'm on right there with you. So I'm going to put it being bias for now, but depending on how this plays out, we might bump it down a little bit. All right, I could already see where this is going because you're not very high on the pirates. But next we got Wendy Darling, which is 2-cost uninkable, 1/2/1 lore, evasive. While you have another pirate character in play, this character gets +1 strength, and most importantly, +1 lore. Wendy Darling, courageous captain, what say you?
It's like, let's just get Mickey and Kakamora out of the picture. I like this card.
All right, we found a pirate you like.
Relax.
Tell me why you like Wendy.
The evasive, I mean, draft, it's a necessity. If you see evasive, then it's pretty much a solid take if it's evasive.
Yeah.
Chances of having a pirate, again, low, but if you do in that small circumstance, then you have an extra lore on the board that can't be touched.
Yeah.
I do hate that it's uninkable, but I do seriously feel like it's a solid card. I don't care about the +1 attack, but
yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. The 2/2 doesn't really, I mean, all it does is it might trade with something more effectively. You're not going to be crashing in with Wendy too often. Yeah.
So I really like it.
Where do you feel like you've got, let's say you've got a handful of pirates, but the likelihood of a pirate coming up, like maybe got 3 pirates. So you might draw a pirate, but probably not. Where do you feel like you have Wendy in that circumstance?
I mean, I looked at the stuff and it has like 32 pirates in this set. So
yeah.
Odds of getting a pirate are really solid. So I put it in either the lowest of A tier or B tier.
Yeah. So, by the way, this is like one of Nye's favorite cards. he loves it. So where am I at? Yeah, I feel like I would have it if I didn't have very many pirates, then at that point, like let's say it's pack 4, and I just haven't gone after the pirate strategy, and I see Wendy Darling, I probably rate it at like a C to C plus because it's a 2-cost evasive character right away, as you said. Even if I'm just chipping away for 1 a turn, it's much harder to deal with it. I'm happy with that. But yeah, if I've got enough pirates, if I've got those 6, 7 average pirates that Knives thrown down as the data there, then all of a sudden I'm taking this so much higher. Specifically, we're going to see a 1-cost pirate in a little bit that would synergize perfectly with Wendy. So I'm happy to put it at like an A- right now, and we'll see where we go from there. But this is assuming that you've done any work in developing that pirate strategy. I know, didn't I say earlier we were going to rate it in a vacuum? Okay, well, in a vacuum, it's like down here. But you know what? Forget what I just said. It's my rules.
Let's go.
We're going to put her up. All right. Next, we've got John Silver, Ferocious Friend, 4-cost uninkable, 2/4, 2 lore. Whenever this character quests, you may deal 1 damage to another chosen character of yours. Not great, but if you do, ready that character and they can't quest for the rest of the turn. So we've got a somewhat comparable effect to Raya here, but there's some differences. How are you feeling about John Silver versus Raya there?
Uninkable, 4-cost. I mean, I like the 2/4 for 2.
Yeah.
His ability is not great. Unless you have something very specific for it, like I don't feel like it's gonna be worth it. So I put in D tier.
Yeah, so I had it a little bit higher. I had it at C, just because it's a pirate, it's a captain, and I mean I shouldn't be factoring this in. I'm breaking my rules all the time, but there is the 8-cost legendary John Silver that would be really nice to have. But no, I was more considering it as kind of a lesser version of Raya. I think that Raya is the better version of this, especially since it's inkable and not dealing a damage to one of my opponents and not having to quest for that matter. But the fact of the matter is I expect I'll probably be able to trigger Raya a couple of times, whereas John Silver you're probably triggering once and that's about it. And it's uninkable. So, quite frankly, if I didn't have it C, I'd probably have it at F. Because I don't really want... I want my D tier to be inkables, like niche inkables. I don't think you should be picking something. If it's bad enough to be in D tier and it's uninkable, you probably just shouldn't take it at all. So I'm going to put it down and hopefully it resides down way at the bottom by the end of this. But I'm also very comfortable having that in F as well. I guess it depends on your deck. All right. Vanellope von Schweetz, Gutsy Go-Getter, Tongue Twister, 3-cost Inkable, 2/3/1 lore. Not very exciting there, but at the start of your turn, if this character is at a location, draw a card and gain 1 lore. How are you feeling about locations in draft?
I love locations. I love the idea of locations. I want rides in Disney World to be locations, but that's not going to be used in draft. Not at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not very high on locations. I find them to be too easy to lose card advantage. I will say, if any card, especially at an uncommon, is going to draw me into doing locations, it's something that's going to draw me a card and gain me a lore at the start of the turn, especially when she doesn't have to be exerted. She could just sit there and do that. But there's really like one location that's like common or uncommon that I'm actually going to see. And really, I don't even know if there's a location that isn't. That's rare plus. But there's only one location, the courtroom, the alien robot one, that I'm likely to ever draft in this set. And that's only if I've got a bunch of aliens and or robots already, so I can prevent that location from being challenged. And then I'm going after Vanellope. The chances of all that coming together are so slim that's like, it's probably not worth it. So suffice to say, I have her at, what do I have her at? I have her at a D, like inkable, but if I happen to draw locations or I happen to draft locations, right? Because I've got some locations at D that are inkable that are like, in a niche situation, I
Yeah.
might play this. So if I happen to have them both and my opponent's board is clear, yeah, of course I'm gonna play her. But like, when's that actually gonna happen? Let's be honest. I do have her definitely ahead of Kakamora, though that one is hot garbage. All right. We've got one of many 1-drop 2/2/1 lores in Michael Darling, but specifically this 1-drop 2/2 is a pirate. How do you feel about Michael Darling? Let's talk about one in a vacuum, pirate notwithstanding. The 1-drop 2/2s. Where would you normally be taking them at?
I ranked him too high. I had him in B, I had him in B tier,
No,
but
that's good.
I mean, in draft, I feel like 1-drops, it's either you grab 1-drops and that's
Yep.
the only thing you're ever gonna get, or you don't get a 1-drop and you're never gonna pull a 1-drop.
Oh, so you're always drawing 1-drops is what you're saying?
Yeah, I feel like it's bad juju. You grab one, like you maybe grab 1 or 2 in like the first pack, and then that's the only thing you're ever gonna get. But if you
Gotcha.
don't grab
But if
any
you
for like
don't
the first,
grab them, no one's passing you 1-drops. I see what
then
you're
yeah, you're not
saying.
gonna get them.
Yeah, that was me in 2-drops last set because there was very few 2-drops last set that I liked, and so I didn't take any that I didn't like. And eventually, I'm like, I just got to start taking bad 2-drops because I got nothing. So B tier, I have them. I have 1-drop 2/2s in a vacuum at B tier because I think there's a lot of people that are dismissive of 1-drops. I don't think I want a ton of them, but I think you need like 5, 6, 7 1-drops. Otherwise, you just fall behind too quickly. I have out-tempoed my opponent so many times by just going 1, 2, 3. I think I definitely have it above Raya, but below Jasmine.
Yeah, because if we're talking like in the vacuum, it is definitely the best out of the 1-2-2-1s because
Yep,
of the pirate classification
agreed.
and because of how much pirates impact this set.
Yep.
But truly, it's not going to be too played. So I agree with the B.
Nice. All right. So speaking of your kind of generic draft fodder, we've got Aladdin Fearless Navigator, 2-cost, 2/3/1 lore. No relevant. Well, there's a relevant shift target, but I wouldn't even be shifting it that much. But there's no relevant subtypes. So how do we feel about the generic 2-cost, 2/3s?
C tier. Done.
C tier done. So in most vanilla cases, I'd agree with you. I'm a bit of a fan of the 2-cost 2/3s, not as high as Michael here. I actually like them at B tier just because a lot of times you're gonna have the 1-drop 2/2s. So if you're on the play and your opponent drops a 1-drop 2/2, you feel real good about dropping a 2/3. Yes, there are other things that I would rather have, but if I just happen to blank on getting the Wendy Darlings of the world and all that, like I'm definitely satisfied with the 2-drop 2/3s. So I would have it probably under Raya, maybe a little bit above, I don't know, somewhere in that range, but definitely
Yeah,
below Michael.
I agree with.
Okay. Cool.
Changed
But
my
yeah,
mind a
other
little bit.
vanillas like the 3-drop 3/4s, the 4-drop 4/4s. For me, they're all like C-ish tier. But it just so
Mhm.
happens I'm a bit of a fan of the 1 and 2s just because there's usually not that many alternative options. So it's kind of like I just don't really have another choice. All right, we've gotten rid of the boring ones. Let's get into the sexy stuff now. We've got the sexy beast Markovsky, Space Trooper, 4-cost inkable, 3/2, 2 lore, evasive. What do you think?
Again, evasive, like necessity when it comes to draft. 2 lore, beautiful, love him.
Yeah.
Uh, 4 cost may be a little late, but the 3/2 body really prevents it from being challenged by other evasives.
Yep.
So it's a little scared. If they have to take it out, then they will. But that guy will hopefully stay on your board for quite a while.
Hmm.
No special keywords, unfortunately, but I put him in A tier.
Yeah. Let's not get greedy now. Yes. I have him at B plus, but I could go for A tier, like A minus. The only reason I put him in B plus because set one, Pongo and Tinkerbell and all that, the 4 cost 2/3, 2 lores, I'm higher on just because they survive more. Because the way I see it, 2 lore evasives, I'm really just looking to quest. Right?
Mhm.
So I just want willpower on them. But to your point, if I'm gonna get challenged, I'd like to have that 3 strength. The problem that I have is in this set, there's not much removal, but what there is 2 damage and 1 damage for the most part. So there's a decent amount of 2 damage out there. So he's gonna be a little bit vulnerable. We've got Wendy Darling that would be crazy to challenge into him, but might with a pirate in play. I don't know. Just the two butt kind of got me down a little bit, but I could definitely go A minus on that one and still
Yeah.
be very happy. All right.
I mean, with
Yeah.
chapter one, that was before they like not to be rude, but that was sort of before they knew how to be a TCG.
That's Grandpa's set. Oh no. I've been called out as old already on this.
No.
No. I mean, that's a fair point, right? But I think even today, if they dropped a 4 cost 2/3 2 lore evasive, I'm thrilled with that.
I mean, yeah, that'd be terrifying on a
Yeah.
good board.
So, all right. Next, we've got a Boo, Bold Helmsman. 5 cost uninkable, 4/4 2 lore rush. What do we think?
I mean, the uninkable is kind of like a punch in the face, but
I am definitely feeling worse about high cost uninkables than low cost. And I didn't mention this earlier with Wendy. A 2 cost uninkable I feel a lot better about than a 5 cost uninkable because I can at least get it out of my hand, right? But if it's a 5 cost uninkable, I can ink it and it's stuck there for a while. So that is relevant. But yeah, go on. 5 cost uninkable.
I
How do
mean,
we feel about the body itself?
Rush is beautiful, especially because he is going to survive more than one challenge.
Yep. He gets that
Uh,
2-for-1 I'm looking for.
and then heck, even if they don't have a board to challenge, then you can just quest and nobody's gonna want to challenge somebody with 4 attack.
Yeah, right. Like again, there are some characters that are bigger than 4/4, but not much. Like I said, 5 is that magic number, but 4/4 not far off from that. Very few things are going to be able to challenge it back and survive. So again, that 2-for-1 is almost assured, like relatively speaking, as long as you don't like run it into a board where they got a couple of 5/5s down.
But
How do you
that's
feel about it
extremely rare.
overall? Keeping in mind it is uninkable. Where do you feel like you're taking this?
I feel like just C tier.
C tier? Okay. I had a B minus just because I really like Rush, but also
Yeah.
I might have been biased because just before I looked at Ruby, I looked at Amethyst. And I don't know if you looked at Amethyst, but there's a really
Oh.
horrible Scar 6 cost 4/4 2 lore Rush. It has Challenger, but by the time you're at a 4/4, you don't really need Challenger. So it's
Yeah.
like, it might have been bias where I'm like, this is just much better than Scar. So I'm okay with like a C plus type area. Let's pop him in
Granted,
there and
now that you say that, I did originally have him in B tier, but I dropped him.
you did a last minute audible. All right. We'll drop the monkey up for now. We'll see if
Yeah,
we want to
just
move him. If
lowest,
we get
low B tier, low B
yeah,
tier.
we'll make sure he's at the bottom.
I love that little monkey.
Oh, I love a boo. All right. Mickey Mouse, Courageous Sailor, next one up. 3 cost inkable, 2/4 1 lore. While this character is at a location, he gets +2 strength. What do you think?
the +2 strength is not happening.
Yeah.
I mean, I have my own Christmas colors locations deck for my fun deck right now, but like unless it's in a very specific scenario like that, it's not gonna do much for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I like that it's inkable. 4, it's got a big booty for 3-drop, but it's
Well,
not.
Again, that vanilla stat line being like 3 cost 3 for 1 lore is the closest comparable, right? So, yeah, if he's at a location, but I think we've already established like the locations, at least for me. Like there's some people that want to draft the locations, but for me, that's just not kind of where we want to be. So I'm with you. What do we think? Do we feel like he's like a D tier, low C? Where do we feel in for Mickey?
I'm happy with D tier because he's inkable.
Yep. I feel like this would be a high D because I like him more than the Kakamora, for example. Maybe not Vanellope because she's got that kind of extra thing going for her, but higher D.
Yes,
Right.
I agree. I agree.
All right. So, Adora Beazle Winter Pop. 3 cost, 1/5, 1 lore. While this character has damage, she gets +1 lore. Ugh.
Again, the
not to give away how I feel about Adora Beazle, but what do you think?
You're killing me here.
You're killing me, Smalls.
5 is again a really good spot to be. If you can just like challenge like a super little guy, 3 cost is great. So you can just challenge a little guy, take that 1 damage, and hopefully stay on the board so that you can just quest for 2 or maybe 4.
But then I'd just rather have the 3 cost 3/3/2 lore. Is my problem. Like, give me Jasmine every single time over this.
I can definitely agree with that. I had her in the lowest possible B tier and flat C tier maybe.
I had her at D+, I'll be honest. Because, like, 1 strength does nothing. And yet, if she takes damage, she's a 2 lore. But already I've got... Then she's probably down to 3 willpower. And then I've got a 3 cost 1 3/2 lore. It's like... Yeah. I don't know. Because, again, like... What is it trying to do? Because if it's trying to be a quester, I need more than 1 strength. If it's trying to do other things, like I compare this to the last set we had Radigan, right? Who was a 1/5, got more strength if he was damaged. So he's obviously, the design is he's looking to get in there, right? But this one, I feel like, its natures are competing with each other. And I don't really know that I like the outcome. I will, for your sake, I will put it at low C tier, but I will have it known for the record. All right, Moana, self-taught sailor, 1 cost, 3/2, 1 lore. Sounds real good. There is a downside. This character can't challenge unless you have a captain character in play. What do we think?
With the 2 health, why are you challenging?
Yeah.
Like... I mean, I've looked, there's 16 captains in the set.
Yep.
So, I mean, it could be a little difficult to get one out since they're all pretty high cost.
Yeah.
But still, just the 1/3/2 for 1, like nobody's going to want to challenge him.
Yep.
Or her, my bad.
Yeah, whatever.
No one's going to want to challenge her. And so that 3 attack is really killer. If you can get a captain out, then that would be like even more perfect. But I think she's really, really good, especially for a 1-drop.
Yep. Yes, I want to control the board early to some degree, but I feel like if you're questing pretty consistently with a 3 strength body that only costs you 1 ink, like it's going to be a while before they can deal with that in a way that they're happy with, and they're probably still not that happy with it. I mean, even challenging into this with a 4/4 or something like that. Your 4/4 cost 4. My 3/2 cost me 1. Yeah, yours is still alive, but with 1 health left, and you had to run a 4/4 into it to do that, and I've been questing for the last 3 turns. Like, there's not very many situations. Like, for me, the worst case scenario is they run their 1 cost 2/2 into it, but then I quested, and mine was also a 1-drop, so... okay, right? So, yeah, I can't think of too many bad situations with Moana, and for what it's worth, there is the shift target for this. Not that you're likely to want to shift it, but like it's one of the better shiftable characters. So where do you have Moana at?
I put her in low A tier.
Low A tier? I got her at B+. I feel like low A might be fair because that's like second, third pick type territory. I had her at B+ because I would want her more at like 4 or 5. But then again, like, there's no one drop that beats her. So as far as one drop goes, yeah. All right, I can dig that. Let's have her at low A. I think she deserves that. All right, John Darling, sophisticated swordsman, 2 cost, 1/4, 1 lore, nothing else.
I was going to say this about Aladdin, but that just having the 4 health, I feel like attack is not the best in draft.
I like to control my opponent's board, I'll be honest. But yeah, you are
sure.
racing more of the time.
So just having that big body on the board.
You're trying hard not to say butt, aren't you? You can say butt on here.
A little bit. A little bit.
John Darling's big butt. All right. Yes.
The biggest of willpower for the 2 drops. Aladdin, I'm okay with the 2, but I feel like John Darling has to be higher than him.
Has to be higher than the 2/3? Ooh, I don't know. I don't know if you're gonna sell me on that one. That's a hard sell. He is a pirate, so I will give him that.
Exactly. That's also a big reason.
Oh, so I've got him at D, so we're far apart here. I don't like the 1/4s at all. I can't think of any circumstance that I like the 1/4s in. Even last set where there was an extra perk of your codas or whichever ones couldn't be challenged. I've just never had it work out particularly well because I can run my 2/2 and my 2/3 into your 1/4 and both of them survive. All right, I'll meet you in the middle. We'll have him in the seas somewhere around here. I'll bump him up a little because he's a pirate. I'll put him above John Silver. All right. You're selling me hard, man.
Let's go.
All right, this one I feel like might go a little bit better. It'd be on the same page. We got Aladdin, Intrepid Commander, 4 cost inkable, 1/4, 2 lore, shift 2. As I mentioned, this is the shift target. When you play this character, your characters, all of them, get +2 strength this turn. Works really well with John Darling, I will say. What do you think about Aladdin?
I love this card. I feel like, sure, the 1/4 is matching with John, but regardless of the extra cost, the 2 lore is great. The extra attack, if they're really like scaring you a little bit, you just drop that. All your little guys can just go ding, 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 ding.
Yep. All of a sudden, their board's clear from all your smaller guys, and it's like, what
and
just
you still have an Aladdin out on the board.
And
whatever they have in their hand is most likely not going to be able to deal 4 damage the first turn it comes out.
Yeah, so you're getting in for 2 lore and maybe 2 again. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. So I put this in either high B tier or low A tier.
Okay. So I got it at C+ just because I tend to already take high strength decks, but I will say I put a little note for myself. I would rate this in that tier if you're drafting more of the like 1/4s and there's like 07s in this set and stuff like that. Adorabeezel. You're drafting Adorabeezel, you're drafting Mickey Mouse Courageous Sailor, these like low strength, high willpower characters. Then all of a sudden Aladdin's ability becomes massive. So in the decks that I draft, I have him a little bit lower, but let's do it for the people and put it a little bit higher there. Let's put him in like the high B here. Let's put him under Jasmine for me. But yeah, in the right deck, great. So if you draft him early, try to build your deck around that and just keep that in mind, right? Especially if you pick up a couple of them since he's just an uncommon.
And I kind of think it's funny how both Aladdins are on boats, yet neither are either pirates or captains.
I know. So disappointing.
What are they doing?
I mean, there is already a bunch of pirates in this set, so...
I mean, sure.
The pirate synergies would be real easy if the entire set was pirates. But yes, that is a very good point. I saw that many times where there was somebody on a boat, and I'm like, he should be a pirate. But I guess there is always the other side of the piracy. There's the good guys, but really...
On the piracy?
Pirates. Yeah.
I don't know how good piracy is, but...
Debatable. Captain Jack would have thoughts about that. Minnie Mouse, Pirate Lookout, 3 cost uninkable, 3/2/1 lore. Once during your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, my camera's off for Oliver right now, so he's not going to see this. You may return a location card from your discard to your hand. My thumb is currently pointed down vociferously.
I don't like her.
Yeah. You don't want to pay 3 cost uninkable for effectively a 3/2/1 lore and that's it?
Yeah, and you have to have a location in your hand?
A location specifically in your discard, so it has to have already been out.
Like, it has to be out and then
removed.
killed, and...
Yeah.
Unless there's something like Agrabah, where, like, 2 lore, 5 health, like, those opponents are going to want to get rid of it. It's not a good card.
No, not good enough. No, there is the, like, 1 cost for willpower, 1 lore ones, but there's nothing like Agrabah in this set. And even then...
If there was,
you'd have to time it right, where I got the Agrabah out first, I got some good value out of it, they got rid of it, I got Mini, then I inked, and then I got it back. And
it's just,
my opponents can't get rid of it immediately afterwards, the location that I put back out again. There's so much that has to go right for this to do anything effective that it's like, can we agree on F for Minnie Mouse?
Amen to that.
All right, we got our first actual F. Since John Silver didn't quite make it down there yet. But yeah, that's a hard F for me. All right. Speaking of Shift Moana, we've got Moana Kakamora Leader, 7 cost inkable, 6/5, 1 lore, Shift 5. She is a pirate captain. Cool. When you play this character, you may move any number of your characters to the same location for free. Gain 1 lore for each character you moved. Big effect requires locations.
Locations, 7 cost, chance for 5 if you have like a Moana on board.
Yeah.
6/5's good. Only 1 lore though. I put it in D.
Yep.
It's inkable.
Yep. I think I might have had it like ever so slightly higher, but maybe not. No, I had her as D. I'm right there with you. I'm going to put her above Vanellope because if I've got locations, that effect is bigger than Vanellope's that might be
100%.
removed. But Vanellope is still very good with location. But yeah, I guess we know how we feel about locations when both the location payoffs are down in the D territory.
I mean, I like the locations, but it's just not gonna go well.
Yeah, not in draft. It's too hard to set it up so that you can protect the locations well enough to make them linger. All right, Pete, freebooter, 3 cost inkable, 5/2/1 lore. Nothing else, so it's effectively 1 less cost and inkable version of the Kakamora you love so much. I might be overselling how you felt about that one. How do you feel about Pete?
He is what Kakamora wishes.
Okay. Tell me where you see Pete as being the most ideal.
I mean, he's inkable and 1 cost less.
Yep.
Maybe not have the rush, but he can also, like... I feel like just playing him way more early, it's going to get the opponent scared.
Yeah. Notably, he is a pirate. And I think
again.
Scared, you've got a right thing. I think specifically partnering him with some of those like 2/4s and all that. So it's like they can't quest with their little guys because you'll run into those. They can't quest with their big guys because Pete will run into those. I still don't love 2 willpower, but it is only 3 costs. So it's not like it's so far removed from rate. I'm thinking that I don't really like the 3 cost 4 3s. I prefer the 3 4s because they can survive more. But this can take out a pretty big body. Again, 5 being that magic number, being like pretty much as big as it gets in this set. There's a couple that are bigger, but look at Moana, look at Goofy, look at Maui that we're about to see. Like 5 is really the magic number. So I think you might have sold me a little bit on this one, bumping it up from where I originally had it. So where do you have Pete?
High B tier. I mean, I had him in A tier, but I kind of shifted him a little bit.
Okay. So I had him in like low C. So let's go with like low B, high C, somewhere in there. And split the difference. I'm going to say let's put him here for now and see if we change our mind.
As long as he's above Kakamora, I'm fine.
He is 100% above Kakamora. I got you there. Because I had Kakamora at F, if you recall. All right. Next, we've got one that I am very much in love with. I'm just going to throw it out there now, which is Goofy, Flying Goof. I noticed Goofy likes flying a lot. 5/5, 1 lore, rush, and evasive. This is what Kakamora wishes it could be.
Man, I love Goofy so much.
Yeah. I mean, 6 cost uninkable is a lot to swallow. I need it to be really good when it's 6 cost uninkable, because I gotta work hard to make it come out, to get it out in the battlefield. But like, 5/5 rush evasive. Nothing standing in its way. It takes care of everything. Oh my gosh! Imagine running this into like the 3/2 evasive into Wendy Darling.
Yes.
You know, goodness sakes, if they've got a Maui out, yeah, you're only trading 1 for 1. But at that point against Maui, I'd be very fine with that.
I'd be stoked.
But the great thing about evasives is either you can quest freely or you can challenge freely, and this, you can challenge probably a couple of times and maybe even still survive that, right? A couple of 2 strength characters and you're still around? Oh! Yeah. Yeah, I really like him. Where do you have Goofy? I don't have him like A tier just because he's a 6 cost uninkable, but I've got him pretty high. Where do you have Goofy at?
I hate doing this to you. It's the Goofy, but I have him in D.
You have him in D. Okay. Sell me on why we do not want to play Goofy.
I can't with the 6 cost uninkable. With 6 ink, that's like an 1/8 of your deck. That's more than an 1/8 of your deck.
Yep.
Just in your inkwell. I mean, turn 6 is a lot to ask in the beginning.
Yep.
I mean, if you want a 6 cost card, it's got to be like your big finale. It's like, and you're screwed.
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean, it could be the big like, oh, you thought you were about to win. I'm close on your heels. Destroy your board over a couple of turns. I mean, but it 5/5 rush with evasive, so good.
I know it. I love him. I love Goofy, but
if he was inkable, he'd be like an A+. But yeah, I get what you're saying. So I think about Louisa from the last set, the 4/8/3 lore, right? Like, I would rather that Louisa over this, but what I'm trying to say is like, I rarely had a problem with making Louisa work. 6 cost uninkable, I can get out. I just have to be conscious of it. I've got to mulligan carefully. I've got to make sure that I'm, if I'm on the play, that maybe I skip my 1-drop, or that I draft enough card draw that I can make sure that I can get up to 6 ink. So I do have to work for it. It doesn't just come for free. But I can make 6 work. 7 is tough. 7 is the one that's tough for me for uninkable. 6 I can make work. So I feel like I can get there. But I'll drop him down a little bit so we're splitting. I was at B-. So
for your sake,
he's got to be above Kakamora. I will not suffer him being below Kakamora. Let's go high C and okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I would have been crushed to have him below Kakamora. All right. Again, legendaries you're not getting very often, but every once in a while you do. So if you're lucky enough, you can crack Maui Half Shark, 6 cost, inkable this time, 7/5 evasive, 1 lore, then a couple abilities that probably won't have much effect, but may still, which is whenever this character challenges another character, you may return an action card from your discard to your hand. And when you play an action card, gain 1 lore. Let's be very clear, those last 2 ones probably not happening very often. So let's take them at the 7/5 evasive for 6.
For this set, I kind of feel like a lot of the legendaries are just kind of like joke legendaries.
For draft. I mean, yeah, they probably weren't designing them for draft.
I mean, yeah, but like Half Shark, Baby, Hercules.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Fun. Oh, they're trolling us with the theme. I see.
Yeah, they're just trolling us a little bit. Like, I love Half Shark so much. I placed him in C tier.
Okay, yeah.
The evasive is huge. 7/5 is huge body.
Yeah.
I mean, it really depends. First time you're doing a set 6 draft, he's S tier. Maybe if we're talking about winning the draft.
I mean, let's be honest, we're money drafting him. Like, let's get that out of the way. But let's just take it as if he was worth nothing, where are we taking him as a card in draft?
Evasive is incredible. 7/5, huge body. He's amazing. 6 inkable.
Yep.
On account to Goofy. I think I'd put him in C tier above Goofy.
Okay, I can get behind that. I had them both at B minus. So I like the inkable part better, but the problem I have with Maui is he's a turn behind Goofy. You talked about the opponent kind of questing out for the win. He's a turn behind Goofy in terms of challenging, which, let's be clear, both of them are here to challenge. They're one lore evasives. They're here to challenge. Yeah, you're still going to quest with them, but like they're here to challenge. And so Goofy being one turn ahead, I like, but you're right. Like, let's balance it out with the fact that if I draw this in my post mulligan, I'm probably going to ink him. So yeah, I'm okay with putting him above Goofy. I'm probably personally going to draft Goofy above because I know that I can make it work. But I think for the average, person out there that isn't necessarily comfortable with a 6-cost uninkable, I get that you wouldn't be. Definitely draft Maui higher. But let's be honest, everyone's just taking him for the money anyway. So
yeah,
it's all a moot point. But hey, again, my rules that I will willingly break within a few minutes. Hades Strong Arm, 5-cost uninkable, 4/3/1 lore. You can exert him and pay an additional 3 ink, so now we're at 8 ink, to banish one of your characters to banish chosen character. How do we feel about Hades?
I think he's a good card. I mean, he's just Glimmer v. Glimmer on command, which I didn't like Glimmer v. Glimmer, but
I did not either.
They played him against me in draft, and I'm like, crap, they're doing really well with that Glimmer versus Glimmer.
Yeah, but it's also a turn slower than... it's several turns slower. It's 2 turns slower than Glimmer versus Glimmer at the best of times. Because Glimmer versus Glimmer 4, this is 5, and then the next turn you can pay an additional 3. But it's like, I've paid 8 now, and... I've had to get rid of one of my characters. Yes, I got rid of the best of theirs, but I had to get rid of one of mine and 8 ink. And then they're just going to run a 1-cost Moana into this if they've got a captain.
Exactly.
So the struggle I have with Glimmer versus Glimmer on this, because I think you're right. They're relatively equatable in that Glimmer versus Glimmer is faster, but this is potentially repeatable if you can protect it. The issue that I have is that I hate it so much, but also there's like no removal in this set. So do I scoff at the one piece of removal in this set that you can actually get out? Because let's be honest, the 7-cost action is not being played. I put this in F tier just because I just can't stand the thought of paying 8 and one of my characters for a 4/3/1 lore body and getting rid of their best character. So I say this because most of the time you're not facing bombs. Most of the time you're facing 4 or 5 characters that are relatively, spaced apart. One is slightly better than the next, slightly better than the next, slightly better. So it's very rare that you've got one that is so much glaringly better than the others that your worst character is substantially worse than their best character. It is worse. Your worst character is worse than their best character, but not egregiously so. When your opponent's got a bomb across the table from you, yes, you feel really good about this. But most of the time, you're just like, ugh, I just traded a 3/3 for your 5/5, and I had to pay 8 ink for it. It's like, so I've got it at an F. I'm going to pull up Heath's show and... But once again, I don't blame you for taking it. I didn't blame you for taking Glimmer versus Glimmer. I still hate it. I drafted it very occasionally in Shimmering Skies, and every time I played it, I continued to hate it.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree. If you're exerting it and spending 3, that 3 body is not going to stay there for a very long time.
They are getting...
Maybe you get rid of their 3 attack guy, but then they're still just going to slam their 2 little guys into you, so he's not staying on the board. So I completely agree with F.
Yeah, again, don't fault you for drafting it, but I think that it's just not going to do what you're hoping it does. And by the time you do it, I'm already at 19 lore, and I say good game. All right. Tigger in the Crow's Nest, 3-cost, 0/4/1 lore evasive. When you play an action, this character gets +1 strength and +1 lore this turn. What do you think?
Action ain't going to be used.
Yeah, there's some actions they really, really like, but other people are drafting them too. So yeah, you probably have like 2 or 3 actions in your deck at most. Yeah.
I love the 3-cost evasive though. That's beautiful.
Yeah, with 4 lore, again, I want to be questing. He's only got 1 lore naturally, which is unfortunate, but I get it. You couldn't give him like 3 lore for paying an action, so.
I mean, hey, make him a super rare and gladly.
Yeah, so I still think you draft him because just any evasive almost is worth drafting. But where do you have him at?
I put him in. I had him in A, but I'm putting him in B.
Yeah.
I think I gave A tier a little too much loosey-goosey thought.
Yeah, I feel like a 0-4-1 lore evasive most of the time can't be an early pick. Like, I don't have him above Jasmine, that's for sure.
Because, I mean,
I could see him being above most of the rest of these. Maybe not even Aladdin, though.
Because his 4 body is a huge booty, but with evasives, like, only Goofy can touch him.
Yeah.
So he will be there for a very long time, but that 1 lore is really just killing me, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I can't put him above Aladdin or Jasmine. I think they're much much better. So, but yeah, I think he's better than like the Vanillas and Abu there. So let's put him there. All right. Scar, Heartless Hunter, 4/2, 3 lore. When you play this character, deal 2 damage to chosen character of yours to deal 2 damage to another chosen character. What say you?
I hate the 2 elf. That hurts. I love the 3 quest, and you can get rid of, like, sure, it deals 2 damage to one of your guys, but at that point, like, it doesn't matter because then you're getting rid of one of their guys too. Yeah. So instead of having to spend the 3 ink and exerting him, it's just when you play him, basically just get rid of one of the other person's guys. I hate the 5-cost uninkable. 4 attack is beautiful. 3 quest and enchanted promo.
An inkable enchanted promo.
Inkable. I mean, hey, they made him even better for the people who are winning.
Yeah. So again, removal hard to come by. 3 lore, always sweet. I would have played this every single time if it didn't say... I haven't even rated this yet on my list because I made a list with all my ratings. This is a question mark. The problem I have is it doesn't say May. If I top deck this on an empty board, he removes himself.
So that's true.
Yeah. So the lack of May on a 5-cost uninkable really hurts me. But he is 3 lore and potentially removal. Like if you got John Darling out, which has now apparently gone up in value. If you've got John Darling out, you feel great. Right? Yeah. Okay, I'll throw a couple damage on John to probably get rid of your 3/2 2 lore evasive. Oh, sweet, chef's kiss. But like, the lack of May kills me a little bit. So I feel like he's too good not to play. So I can't rate him at D or F because I can't rate him at D because he's uninkable. So he's got to be at least C. If it was May, I would probably have him like a high B. The lack of May hurts a little bit, but I mean, you're not going to be top decking an empty board most of the time, but not even an empty board. Like if all my characters have 2 willpower or less on them, I don't really want to be removing one of my characters to deal 2 damage to one of theirs. I don't know. Like I said, this is one that I hadn't even rated yet because I just couldn't decide because that lack of May kills me. But I feel like this is one we're going to have to play with to get a better sense of. So I feel like, sorry, where did you have him?
I put him in A tier.
Yeah. Like I said, like if it was a May, I would have him in A tier. I feel like for now,
I didn't see that.
I'm gonna put him here, and he could very well be an A. Everyone out there, he could very well be an A. If you're feeling confident, draft him and see how it goes. If you're feeling not very confident, maybe just pass him along. Because I don't think he's gonna be worth anything outside of the draft.
I completely agree.
All right. Let's keep it rolling. I've had you here for much longer than I thought I was going to, so let's try and speed things up for you.
This is fine.
All right. We got Thievery next. 1-cost inkable. Chosen action. One of the few actions. Chosen character loses 1 lore, and you gain 1 lore. So 2 lore swing on 1-cost action, but that's it.
We're on to the actions. We made it.
We're almost there.
Love it.
Okay.
I mean, 1-cost, you're not going to be playing it turn 1.
No.
But seriously, good card, especially if you're top decking and you just top deck into this. It could be that last little push that gets you to the end. Inkable, beautiful. It's the little monkey again.
I like the other Abu a lot better, I'll be honest. So,
I mean, yes, but it's still a monkey.
This is assuming you have no action synergy, so you don't have Tigger. The problem I have is it doesn't affect the board at all. So sometimes it's like I needed 1 lore, or you needed you have exact lore on the board opposing me. You losing 1 or me gaining 1 means the win. So there's going to be times where you win this. I said the same thing about gathering knowledge and lore. Is it on the gathering knowledge and wisdom?
And wisdom.
Thank you. On the last set is just a card that says gain lore has to, there's got to be something more than that for me. Again, I'm just talking about me right now. Is I want a character because ultimately I can try and manipulate things such that I get more than 1 lore out of this character. Like a 1-drop 2/2 might just be 1 lore and then it goes away, but might be 2 or 3 or 4. This will only ever be what it is, right? But sometimes what it is really great. The fact that it's inkable is what I like, but what I would term this as is a niche great card, which is in the right circumstances, it's really good. But there's plenty of circumstances where it's not. Where it's just 1 lore, 2 lore swing, and it's like, that's great, but I was questing for 6 next turn anyway, or that's great, but I'm at 18, and 1 lore doesn't do enough, or I don't have anything else to play turn 1, so I just play this turn 1 because I got nothing else maybe, or whatever. Like, there's too many situations where it's not ideal, so this is why I have it at D, which isn't to say don't draft it, but for me it should be ink most of the time. And play it when you do have a situation where you're at 19 or they're at exacts or whatever the case may be, or you've got the action synergies. Yeah. That's my rant.
I had him in B tier. Mm-hmm. Just because, again, I love the losing lore. Like, it's always just so nice to just, like, get a breath of fresh air.
But Jasmine does it on a 2 lore body.
Kind of kill it. That's why I have Jasmine in A and this in B.
That's fair. That is fair.
I mean,
so again, like,
it gives you breathing room.
Yeah, fair, right? So I'll be happy to put it above Kakamora. I can definitely put it above these 4. I don't know if I could. I don't think I could put it above Mickey, just because just a 5-cost 4/4/2 lore is probably going to do so much more work than this action. So if you've got any action synergies or you're a very aggressive deck, maybe, but all right, lead the way. 2-cost action inkable. Your characters get +2 strength this turn. It is Aladdin's ability, but without the 1/4 body.
This is an interesting card. Again, Aladdin, just way better. Mm-hmm. It's a body 1/4, like, it's kind of funny. When you said lead the way, I didn't know that you were talking about a card, so I'm like, lead the way.
Go ahead. Tell us what you feel about this next card that you don't know.
Lead the way about lead the way.
Just gonna put this there for you.
Yeah.
Again, there is times where it could be great. You got those 1/4s, you got those 2/4s, you got those 2/5s. +2 strength to your whole team could be huge. But there's plenty of times where you're just racing out and you're like, I don't want to challenge. Now, if this said till the start of your next turn, then for sure, because I want a deterrent for my questers. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like most of the time I'd just rather quest than be challenging. And if I'm challenging, I probably already have the body in place anyway. So don't definitely feel free to take it, but hopefully you're getting this at the end of your packs.
Definitely.
So speaking of bad location cards for a draft, maybe good and constructed, who knows? The islands I pulled from the sea, 3-cost uninkable song, search your deck for a location card, and put it in your hand.
You're not getting locations. That's where I have him.
Yeah. Hard F.
F tier.
Hard F. If you're wasting an uninkable spot on finding a location in your deck, ugh.
You can sing it. Like, that's its only redeeming quality when it comes to draft. But you're not gonna get, unless you have like incredible
There's not even like
locations.
A bomb location that I could think of that I've been like, oh, I can't wait to pull this out of my deck.
Like maybe 3-cost into McDuck Manor draw, then that would be good.
If Queen's Castle was in this set, 100%.
Ooh.
But
just the fact that there's really not great locations this set, like just put in an F and move on.
All right. a card that makes me so sad because it has everything I want in a card other than one very glaring problem. Energy Blast. I'm going to read what it does first because I love everything up until the end. Which is, it says, banish chosen character, draw a card. 2 things I'm very happy to do. But for 7 cost uninkable. What?
This one bugs me. It's such a good card.
So good and unplayable. It's so good and unplayable.
It's like having a Dragonfire. Like, boom, get rid of that character. And then you have a 2-cost uninkable. You have a 2-cost uninkable that says you can draw a card.
I get that they couldn't make it cheaper because you've got Dragonfire that's 5-cost uninkable and doesn't draw a card. They could have maybe at least made it 6 cost, but like an uninkable...
Maybe make it inkable. Like, that just doesn't work.
Yeah, if it was inkable, it's like, chances are I'm inking it, but if I can get to 7, oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's like a stake to the heart, but I have to put an F.
Yeah. For me, it's like the best F, but it's an F. Well, maybe Hades is a little better.
Well, yeah, Hades.
Because at least you can get him out, right? He's a 5 cost.
Yeah.
You're probably not getting to 7 ink in a lot of games. All right. Mm-hmm. Longboat. Just so you know, Knive is in love with this, so if you besmirch it, he's going to go after you. I don't feel as strongly, so you can feel free to do that here, but just fair warning. Longboat, 2 cost uninkable item. You can pay 2 ink, no exertion, as many times as you can. Chosen character of yours gains evasive, most importantly, until the start of your next turn.
This is a great card. I feel like if you just, like... The idea of getting an item out on the board is kind of daunting when it comes to draft. Because it's like, well, I have this card full of hands and only 2 cost. Like, maybe play it turn 4, just like, boom, give one of your guys evasive. It's not going to be too good to get an item out. It doesn't feel great to not get a body out in draft. But ability, if you have a good board, you just quest with everybody and you just have a ton of ink. You can just spread it all out, boom, give everybody evasive and just call a game.
Yeah, right? Super powerful ability. I feel like late game, this is like a huge swing. Huge swing. My problem is that it's uninkable. And when something is best late game and is uninkable, there could be a stretch of like 6-7 turns where I don't want to play this and it's just rotting in my hand. Right? If I can drop this, probably the earliest I'd want to drop it is like turn 6. Make 2 things evasive and quest out. But if I post-mold get it, or draw it turn 1, or turn 2, or even turn 3, it's sitting in my hand for a long time, rotting away, not affecting the board because it's in my hand. So that's why I struggle with it. So I get why Nye loves it, because it's amazing that you can do it repeatedly. There's plenty of times in draft where you end up with, I top deck a 2-drop, I got 6 ink out. I guess I'm, burning 4 ink with nothing to do. So having something to put your ink into is great. Why did it have to be uninkable? I still think it's good. I still think it's playable. I hate the fact that it's uninkable. Where do you have it at?
I had it in D, but for the sake of Knive, I voted
to avoid the wrath of Knive?
Yes, I don't want that on my hands.
All right. So for me, I had it in C tier. So I'm just gonna call an audible here, put it above Thievery.
Come on.
And you'll be sad.
At least put it above Kakamora, below Thievery.
All right,
put it there.
I'll give you that. I'm open to negotiations.
All right, I'm happy with that.
All right. Gold coin, 1 cost inkable. Exert it, pay 1, banish it. Ready chosen character. They can't quest for the rest of this turn. We've already seen this effect twice. Why do we need it a 3rd time?
Yeah. I don't know why, but I had it in C.
I've got it in D just because it's inkable, but sometimes usable. But it's just, I'm going to be drafting the other 2 over this. I'm going to be drafting John over this. I'm certainly going to be drafting Raya over this. Unless you're looking for those item strategies, which honestly I think would be a mistake. I think the item strategies are a mistake. For me, it's like below these 2.
Kind of funny.
Yeah.
I went to the Vegas DLC and we did the Chapter 1 draft.
Yep.
And in it, I pulled a Tamatoa and a good amount of items. And so I'm like, all right, why not? I got destroyed, fixed my deck, and then I won the next 2 games.
Yeah, go figure. I get that that's tempting, but yeah.
So yeah, I had to just replace that and just go full aggro with my deck. But still, gold coin, it's 1 cost inkable, but it's a 2 cost item. So I say put it in D.
Yeah. All right. So Card Soldier Spear, 1-cost inkable item. Your damaged characters get +1 strength.
If you have a Dora Beazle, then heck yeah. If not,
yeah, I'm with you. That's a D for me. Where do we figure? Above gold coin? Slightly more usable? Below?
Yeah, I say above gold.
Okay.
I mean, maybe with gold coin, at least you can, like, keep your Scar safe for one more turn.
That's true. Okay, I like gold coin above. Okay.
Yeah.
2 left. We're into the locations, which we obviously love so much. 2-cost uninkable location that produces no lore inherently. That's a great start. Flotilla, Coconut Armada, 2-cost uninkable, 2 move, 6 willpower. At the start of your turn, if you have a character here, all opponents lose 1 lore and gain lore equal to the lore lost this way. So obviously in draft you only have 1 opponent, so it's they lose 1, you gain 1 if you have a character there, and you've paid 4 at that point, and it's uninkable, and it's only got 6 willpower.
I mean, I feel like again, love the losing lore, but it's good in group, but nobody plays group.
Yeah.
So
if somehow you get a group draft going, then 100% you play that Flotilla.
I have it in D, but I can gladly put it in F.
Yeah, just if it's uninkable, I feel like if you already say it's a D quality, then it's just F.
Yeah, I put it above Mini and Islands, but that's as far as I'm willing to go.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Okay, last one. Skull Rock, 2-cost inkable at least. 1 move, 6 willpower. Characters get +1 strength while here. And at the start of your turn, if you have a pirate character here, gain 1 lore.
It doesn't have the lore factor that I would want. I like having +1, and if you have a location, then you can just kind of spend 1, move all your guys there, and then that keeps them pretty safe. Like, you have a John Darling, that's a 2/4, which is really, really solid.
If John Darling was a 2/4, I'd feel really good about it, sure.
Plus, he's a pirate, so John Darling, beautiful synergy with Skull Rock fitting, too.
You know what? If you draft John Darling, by all means draft Skull Rock. I've got it in a D just because occasionally it's usable, but I think that most of the time you're just kind of wasting your time.
No, I think that's a great way to end it off, throwing Skull Rock in D.
Yep. All right. Oliver, man, what a joy. Thank you so much. It's been a blast having you here. How do you feel about Ruby overall? Looking at this, how are we feeling?
Non-draft, I love Ruby. Ruby is probably my favorite color when it comes to Lorcana.
Nice.
It ain't doing me in draft.
I mean, you've got a few A's in there, and just to be clear, I had no A's. I actually messaged Oliver. I'm like, just so you know, I'm going to be harsh on Ruby because I don't have any A's. You sold me on 3 A's, so, you know.
I originally had 8 A's, so...
So we've negotiated down. Yeah.
Yeah, you took 5 away from me.
I think Ruby's doing all right. I think Emerald is going to crush it. Not that it matters. Again, let's be clear. It doesn't matter what color it is in draft. I just like to talk about them in terms of separation. Otherwise, we'd be here all day.
Yeah.
I think Emerald got the bulk of the great draft cards, but I think there's some decent ones in Ruby here, especially Moana I'm really liking.
Moana, Murowski, Jasmine, Scar, any of those would just be like, all right, I'll take it. I mean, it's not bad Ruby.
Yeah.
John Darling, Big Booty.
Yeah.
That's really it when it comes to Ruby. I love the color. It's not doing me in draft, but I'm glad that I could be here. Thank you very much.
No, absolutely. It was a pleasure. Tell the people one more time where they can find you, and we'll wrap it up.
I have a Twitter X, I don't even know.
It's got to be Twitter. None of this X nonsense.
Twitter for life.
Yeah.
And yeah, Journey Into Lorcana, at Into Lorcana. Check out my card reveals. I'm posting the answer tonight.
Nice. All right. I look forward to posting a smarmy GIF with my answer, my guess for it. All right. Take it easy, Oliver.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Bye, everybody.
Bye.